everyone, my name's Rebecca. Welcome back to my channel. If you're one of the few people who've been here before, if you're new, welcome. I hope you're all well. Today I'm going to be talking about my bookish goals for 2021. I know this is a video that is everywhere at the moment, but I wanted to put my 2 cents in and put this out, hold myself accountable. I've split this video into 3 parts. So I'm going to talk about some books that I want to read in 2021, my general reading goals for this year, and also a couple of channel goals as well. So I'm just going to jump straight in because I don't want this video to be super long. Also, I know the lighting is bad. It's something that we're going to have to work on, but for now, this is what I'm working with. So every year I pick 12 books, 6 physical, 6 ebooks from my backlog to read. I have many unread books and this is always doable, but I never actually get through them all. This year I would really like to read everything on this list, so I've picked quite a lot of books I'm excited for. I'm just going to jump straight in. So the first book on this list is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This came out in 2019. I went to a launch party and everything, wore stones for it, and I still haven't read it yet. It's so big, so it's a commitment to read, but also I think what's scaring me the most about getting to this book is that I love the Bone Season series, which is Samantha Shannon's other works, and I'm really scared I'm not gonna like this because I love the Bone Season so much. But so many people love this, so I'd really like to get around to it. All I really know about it is that it's a retelling of St. George and the Dragon, which is a tale I know really well. He's the patron saint of England and I'm English. And it's also about a queendom, and I'm really interested to see what she's done with that. I'm hopefully going to get to this one in the first couple of months of 2021. The next book I want to get to is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I've wanted to read more N.K. Jemisin since I finished the 5th season series, which I'm not sure was during 2020 or 2019. But honestly, the series is one of the best I've ever read of any genre, to be honest. And I'm really keen to read more by N.K. Jemisin. I pre-ordered this and then was in the middle of something else. And then I did some readathons and I just never got around to this one. So I really want to get to this ASAP. I read the short novella that was released before this. I think it's The City We Built, and absolutely loved it. I'm really in love with the whole concept of this, so I can't wait to pick this one up. The third physical book that I want to read is An Assassin's Guide to Love and Treason by Virginia Boga. I actually pre-ordered this. It came out at the end of 2018, I think, and I put it off because I thought it was part of a series. I've since found out it's a standalone, but I also received it and found out it's got deckled edges. I know a lot of people like deckled edges, and the deckled edges is a thing in the US, but it's not in the UK really, and I hate them, and they're kind of uncomfortable to read. So I have been putting this off, but now I know it's a standalone. I'd quite like to read this, and then I'll probably get rid of this edition because of the deckled edges. But yeah, I'm really intrigued about this. It's been so long I've actually forgotten what this is about, but I know I was really excited to read it, and I was in such a huff about the deckled edges that I didn't. So I'd like to actually read this, and I think I'll probably enjoy it. The next book is The 12 Children of Paris by Tim Willocks. I've had this book for a long time. I haven't read it yet because I started it, realised it was the second in a series, bought the first book in a series, absolutely loved it, and then just never picked this up. It's also, like The Priory of the Orange Tree, a bit of a commitment. It's a really long book with really tiny font, but I am really excited to get around to this because I love the first book so much and I really like the characters. And yeah, I mean, I think this is meant to be part of a trilogy, and the third book is nowhere in sight, even though I think this came out quite a long time ago, 2013, so I'm not in a super big rush to read this, but it's still one that I'd quite like to get around to. The last physical book that I would like to read is The Astonishing Colour of After by Emily X.R. Pan. I love Emily X.R. Pan on social media. I have wanted to read this book since before it came out, and I just haven't got around to it yet. I can't remember massively what this is about, other than the main character's mother commits suicide and leaves a note for her that she wants to find out the meaning of. But a lot of people have loved this book, and I really think I'll love this book. And I've had this for ages as well, and I really want to get around to it. So moving on to the ebooks, the first one is The Paper Magician by Charlie N. Holmberg. I've again had this book for ages. It, as far as I know, is a fantasy novel. It's about magicians. I've got like the full series on my Kindle. I can't remember what it's about anymore, but I've been excited to read it, and I see it on my Kindle every now and again and think I want to read that soon, and then never do, so that's high up on my priority list. The second is The Thief Taker by C.S. Quinn. This is a historical crime thriller novel, and I want to read more of those because I enjoy them so much. I'd really like to get back into them in 2021. This is another one. I've got the whole series on my Kindle, and I think I'm going to love it because I almost always love historical crime novels, so it'd be nice to get around to this one soon. The third one is Sophia Khan Is Not Obliged by Aisha Malik. This was described to me as a Bridget Jones type book. I thought the Bridget Jones books were okay. She's the sort of woman that you picture people writing women's magazines for. I'm really interested to see what Aisha Malik's take on that sort of character is, that's not just, you know, your white woman, lonely white woman worrying about her weight stereotype. So I really like to read this one. I also think I have a sequel for this as well, so I can just jump straight into the rest of the series. The next is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is one of the like staple books everybody's read, I feel like, and I know it's just a retelling of the myth of Achilles, but I think everybody loves it, and I'd really like to read more Greek retellings, and I think this would be a good place to start because it's so beloved. I feel like I'm probably going to love it as well. I've had this book for a long time. I think I bought it in like at least 3 or 4 years ago, and I've never got round to it, so I'd really like to get round to this one. This is another one that I've put high priority. The next is Under the Udala Trees by Chinelo Okporanta. This one is about, I think it's set in Nigeria, and it's about a girl sort of coming to terms with her sexuality. I am really excited for this one. I think there's a couple there, Stay With Me, there's another one, and I bought them all around the same time and I haven't read them yet, so this is another priority one, and one I think I'm really going to enjoy. The last book that I want to read from my backlog is Patsy by Nicole Dennis Benn. This is about, I think, twins, and one stays in her native country, the other one goes to the US, and I think at least one of them is non-binary, and I mean I'll get onto that, but I do want to read more trans and non-binary books in 2021. I actually bought this to diversify my reading and haven't got around to it yet, so this is another one of my priority ones. I'd really like to get around to this, and also just sounds like the sort of book that I will enjoy. Moving on to my general reading goals, I do have my laptop here, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So moving straight on from Patsy, I do want to read more trans and non-binary work specifically, but LGBTQ plus in general. I feel like I haven't read a lot of books that are diverse in that way this year. I think that's something that's really been lacking in 2020 in particular. I feel like in previous years I've been quite good at mixing like diverse gender and sexuality in, but in 2020 I think I really failed at that. So I want to focus on trans and NB authors, but wider, I do want to read more LGBTQ plus in general. To start myself off, I am following a few accounts on YouTube, Twitter and Instagram, but specifically the NB Book Club and Non-Binary Reading on Instagram. I'll link their pages in the description. I'd like to read at least half of the books for the NB Book Club, but there's recommendations on there and on Non-Binary Reading that I'd really like to read. I've already added some to my wish list that I'd quite like to pick up, so I am going to be focusing on those accounts but getting recommendations from everywhere. Kind of linking into that is that I want to track my reading better. I've started using the story graph where the stats on there are better than Goodreads, but I mean page counts and stuff like that aren't as accurate because there's not multiple editions of things, but it's still not as detailed. It's not showing me the sort of stats that I want to look at, so I'm going to be better at tracking my reading. My plan is to set up a spreadsheet so I can look at like gender, race, sexuality, stuff like that, and actually see where I need to improve and diversify my reading. I know in my backlog it's not going to be the greatest, but I do know that I want more diverse stories in my life, and I think this is a good way to track what I'm missing out on. I also want to read more translated work. This year I've really branched out into reading translated work and work written by authors that aren't European or North American, and I want to continue that because I've really been enjoying myself, honestly, more than ever when I've been reading. So I want to read more. I want to branch out more so that I'm not reading loads of Eurocentric and North American literature. I want more interesting stories. I also want to read more of my ebooks. Like I said, I have a ton of Kindle books because I used to just get everything in the 99p. I mean, I still do get everything 99p that are on sale. I've got full series on there that I haven't read yet. I've got books from 2014 that I bought for 99p just to fill up my Kindle when I first bought it that I haven't read yet, and it's an issue, so I'm going to put like a priority collection together and work through those first probably. But I pretty consistently read about 15 ebooks a year, and I want to try and double that, so we'll see. Lastly, I want to try and finish, I've got a bookshelf and there's one unread book on it, so I want to read that book, and I want to try and read about half of my other bookshelf in the same room. I've read about a third of the books on there, so I think that's doable. And also I want to read 52 books. I set this goal every year and I usually surpass it, so I'm not so worried about that one. Lastly, my channel goals, I only have two really. The first is to get better at closed captions. I've been putting the automatic ones on and I know they're not great, so I do want to work harder. I'm going to work out how to do the closed captions and make that a priority when I'm posting videos. But also I just feel like in general, like I mentioned, I haven't posted a video for 3 weeks, and to be honest I feel really disillusioned and demotivated with this channel because I feel like I'm posting the same like 3 videos every month and it's not adding anything to any kind of conversation. It's not making me feel fulfilled creatively, and so I want to branch out. I want to talk more about what parts of books that I love. Like next month I want to put out some videos for the Bone Season series because the new book's coming out at the end of January, and just look at things in the book that have inspired me to go out and do research, or aspects that have made me think about something. I want to do more stuff like that instead of just TBR, tag, review, wrap up, TBR, tag, review, wrap up. I want this channel to be interesting and also to be making videos that I love making. Like wrap-ups are great and reviews because I get to talk about books that I really enjoy or didn't, but TBRs, like I make a TBR, I never stick to it. Some tag videos are fun, but I was just kind of doing all the tags everybody else was doing as well that weren't necessarily things that I super enjoyed to do. So I want to just make videos I want to make. I don't know if I'm gonna have consistent uploading yet. It depends on time and ideas and how I'm feeling and stuff, but I really want to branch out a little bit, I think. So that's it, that's all my goals for 2021. Let me know what your goals are, if you have any, if you've read any of the books that I have on my list to read and what you thought of them, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Bye!